telling us to enjoy it while they're young. But our days are filled with chaos and stress and cooking and endless laundry piles. Where's the time to enjoy anything? Yeah, that's what I always thought too. There's so much I have to do. When do I find time for peace and joy and happiness when I barely have time to sleep? Mama, it's time for a shift. You can be a happy mom. Yeah, it's possible. If I can, you can. Trust me. I've been a mess. I've been depressed. I've been overwhelmed. I've been to the bottom of the pits. And I've risen. I've grown. I've bloomed. And it all started when I realized I didn't have to anything. I get to. It is my privilege and my honor and my divine responsibility to be the queen of my home. It's not a burden. I'm not the janitor and the lunch lady. I'm in charge. I'm the ruler. I'm the chaos coordinator. I'm the calm in the storm. I don't have to anything. I get to. And so do you. So let's rise, mamas. Adjust your crown. Accept your responsibility. And change the effing world. It's all in the way you choose to see it. You're listening to I Get To, the podcast with Brittany Clarkson. That's me. Hey friend, today I kind of wanted to have this a bit of a raw and vulnerable conversation. Like I literally just woke up last night, kind of received some news about someone I love having made some kind of a mistake. And I don't even have the full story. But I could feel like my body carrying this stress and tension over it. And it's had me thinking so much on this. And it's having me realize I've gone through very similar situations already myself. Like you know what I'm talking about? When someone you love and adore, maybe it's someone personally in your life, maybe it's just someone you've always looked up to, when they make a mistake and you take that on yourself and start to feel like it somehow means something about you and you let it rock your world, that's what I'm here to address a little bit today. What I want to talk to you about is how to handle when someone you love makes a mistake. I don't think we talk about that enough. I think we talk about our own guilt and shame, but we don't so much talk about how to handle that situation when someone else has screwed things up. How do you cope with that? How do you move on from that? How do you keep going? Because you can't control someone else. You can't control what they do. You can't control what they've done. You are only in control of your reaction, the things you do and say from this point forward. Now, one thing that I have very much come to realize in my 31 short years here is everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Pretty sure I just quoted all that from Hannah Montana. But it's very true. The best people you know have likely screwed up in ways that you either are completely unaware of or have completely overlooked. Sometimes we're blinded by love, so we don't really notice if someone has done something upsetting. And sometimes we justify things and we downplay it and say it wasn't so bad. But none of those things really are helpful, to ignore them or downplay them. Off my table, Kitty. What is helpful, I think, is to get into a new mindset about the whole situation. Because what we tend to do is either downplay it or ignore it, or we blow it up bigger, right? We tend to write people off because they posted something on social media that we weren't a fan of. I mean, maybe not people, well, maybe, yeah, people in our personal lives too these days. But I'm kind of thinking of like big celebrities who kind of flub things up and say something wrong, or even, like in their big speeches, or even their social media uh, experts are posting things without, what is it? Without citing them, stealing other people's work sort of ideas. And I think the big error is when we forget that all people are just people. They are no different from you and I. We are literally all the same. We are all equal. We are all capable of the same things. We all fall victim to mistakes. And I think one of the biggest atrocities that we commit is giving grace to some and not to others. If people are all equal, the grace given should be equal as well. Because you're only free when you forgive others and yourself for the past. When you release the stress and anxiety and fears over the future, and you live in this moment, that's the only place you're free, is right here, right now. When we dwell on the past and when we fear the future, that's the trap that we fall into. That's where depression and anxiety come in. You can only be happy right now. And you can't be happy if you're holding on to other people's mistakes. We can't have thriving relationships if we're just going to keep holding people back based on mistakes they've already made, things they've already tried to move on from. So, what do we do when someone we love makes a mistake? How do we show them that grace? How do we keep moving forward? For one thing, we have to put ourselves in their shoes. And I know a lot of times someone makes a mistake and we think, I could never. If I had been in that situation where they made that mistake, there's no way I would have done the same thing they did. That's the mistake we make in our judgment, is trying to put ourselves in the moment the mistake was made. But what I want you to do is take it back. Put yourself in their shoes days, weeks, months, years before this mistake happened. If you can't stop dwelling on someone's mistake, then we have to get to the root of why that mistake was made. What are all the things that had to happen for this person to make that mistake? That's where you have to put yourself. Oftentimes, I would look at someone with a drug addiction and think, there's no way. How do you just start doing heroin? Because from my point of view right now, it's such an unrealistic impossibility. And I'm very certain most of my listeners right now would not say yes to taking heroin. But if you backtrack it, this person who's just at their lowest of lows, How much pain do you have to be in to say yes to this? What do you have to say yes to first before you say yes to that? How many steps were there where they went from being, you know, someone who was loving and caring and showed up on time and you could count on them? How much pain did they have to be in to say yes to drinking a little too much? And then maybe they moved on while they were drinking so much to trying some tamer drugs. And maybe it all just kept escalating a little bit at a time. Not everyone jumps into the deep end with their mistake. Sometimes they're dipping a toe. Sometimes they're wading around in the shallow end of the pool first. Sometimes these mistakes are people falling in at the deep end. Sometimes they're pushed. But we can't be so righteous to say we could never. Because you could. The right circumstances, the right amount of time spent in a low vibe state, you're depressed enough, you're sad enough, you're disconnected from yourself enough, you could be capable of a lot more than you want to think that you could. People make mistakes every day. And other people's mistakes don't define you. Other people's mistakes have nothing to do with you. Other people's mistakes are honestly none of your business. And yeah, even when it's someone very, very close to you. Because you make mistakes too. And would you want this person to hold your mistakes against you? If you just found out someone close to you has made a huge mistake, flip the table and question if the situation were turned. If you have to apply a different mistake to this, then do it. Because maybe you can't imagine making their mistake still. But if you made a mistake, because you do make mistakes, we all do, how would you want that person to treat you and react to you? Would you want a mistake to end this relationship? Because if you're going to end it over their mistake, you better be okay with them ending it over yours. How would you want this person to treat you if the tables were turned? Because that's how you should be treating others. The way you want to be treated. We have to stop defining ourselves by other people's mistakes. We have to stop looking at, we have to stop looking at other people's choices as a reflection of ourselves. We have to stop putting our worth on other people's behaviors. People make mistakes. We are only human. When you start to give yourself grace, be sure you're giving others grace. When you start to give others grace, be sure you're giving yourself grace. It goes both ways. We are all the same. Yes, we are unique individuals with our own set of experiences and skills and purpose. But we are all equal. We are all capable of the same things. It's just going to take different things to push each of us. Some of us are stronger than others in some areas and weaker in others. Some of us can handle our alcohol, and some of us make huge mistakes when we've been drinking. That's why some of us quit drinking. And on that note, let me tell you, it's okay to change your life without hitting rock bottom first. Your rock bottom doesn't have to be as low as others. If you can handle some alcohol, but drinking makes you do dumb stuff, maybe it's time to quit. It's kind of a scam anyway. It never makes you feel the way the commercials say it will. Huge waste of money. It's not good for you to keep pushing the age back of how old you should be before you drink. I'm not here to get all preachy to you. But I'm here to tell you it's okay to guard your heart and to guard your mind and to set healthy boundaries in your life. Whether that's keeping people at a distance, creating a habit for yourself, or getting out of patterns of bad habits, or removing a substance that causes you to act like an idiot. It's okay to set the boundaries that you need to keep you from being a stressed, depressed mess all the time. And it's okay to forgive people who've done things that you can't understand. To forgive those who did things that you could never imagine doing. Because we all do things that someone else can't imagine doing. Life is a spectrum. It's not black and white. There's a lot of factors at play. There's a lot of things you're capable of that others aren't. There's a lot of things others are doing that you can't even imagine. But don't let someone else's mistake be your downfall. Don't let it trip you up. Some could say that it's all just a ploy from the enemy. Some could say it's simply happening to keep you distracted so that you never fully step into your potential. Could be happening to keep you quiet. Could simply be happening to keep you from spreading good news everywhere you go. You're a beacon of light. You're a powerhouse of love. But if someone's got you feeling salty and sour because of something they did, then you're not going to be out there sharing that love and light the way that you're meant to. Maybe it is all a distraction. Don't get distracted. Stay focused. Keep your head up and your chin down. Or no, keep your head down and your chin up. There's better days coming. Do not be dwelling. Process the emotions and why you feel the way you feel. Maybe you're upset at their mistake because you don't want to get found out for your mistakes. Maybe you're upset with how upset you've been. Maybe you're upset because that could be you. So easily, you could have done the same thing. Maybe you're upset because you think that they did it because of you. I don't know why we get so upset about other people's mistakes. There's a lot of factors at play. But we don't have to stay upset. We can pause, breathe, process the situation calmly and quietly. Give ourselves grace, give others grace. Understand that we're human. See it all as a distraction, and keep on moving forward. There's a lot of light ahead of you. Thank you so much for listening today. If you could do me a quick little favor and rate and review this podcast, that would mean so, so much to me. And also, if you could screenshot the episode you're listening to and share it on your social media so that other mamas can find the same episodes and learn the same things you've learned, that would mean so much to me, so much to the whole world. Thank you so much for making the world a better place.